John Lamont, it's been widely reported today that the government is about to scrap the final leg of HS2. What's your reaction to that?
So I'm not going to comment on media speculation on this. I'm very clear that this United Kingdom government is absolutely committed to investing in transport across the UK and in Scotland. So for example, in the borders, we see the feasibility study for the extension of the Borders Railway to Hoyk, Newcastle and on to Carlisle. We see the A75 feasibility study, and we also see the UK government investing in the Fair Isle ferry. So this government is absolutely committed to investing in good transport links across the United Kingdom.
Should this be scrapped though, given the rising costs?
I'm not commenting on media speculation. My colleagues in government will make whatever announcement they decide to do.
You must have an opinion on it though, do you not? Should it be scrapped?
My view is this government is committed to investing in good transport links across the United Kingdom, including in Scotland.
If it is scrapped though, what would that say about the government's levelling up project?
As I say, I'm not going to comment on speculation on this particular project, but levelling up is happening across the UK, including in Scotland. You see that with the Town Centre Fund announcement this weekend, with 7 towns in the border securing 7 towns in Scotland securing £20 million, and across the UK there is significant investment being made to level up all communities.
The Chancellor today was speaking about tightening the sanctions for benefits for people. The SNP have called that detrimental to people, the most vulnerable and the poorest in society. Is there a danger that you could become known as the nasty party again because of policies like this?
This government has got a very proud record of supporting the most vulnerable people in society, and also ensuring that people are given the pathways back into work where it's appropriate for them to be working. And I think the system, particularly around universal credit, works for households across Scotland. But equally, we need to be ensuring there is adequate incentives to ensure that people are encouraged back into work. And whilst work coaches and other staff working in the DWP network are doing everything they can to support people back into work, there's always the occasional example of people who are not taking the appropriate action to find the job opportunities that might be there. So the announcement today will act as a further incentive to ensure that those people who are fit and able to work are encouraged to do so.
That's just it though, isn't it? That's just it. It's an occasional example of people maybe abusing the system. Wouldn't this policy mean that potentially a lot of people would end up worse off in the midst of a cost of living crisis?
Well, the occasional examples all add up, and ultimately it's taxpayers' money that's been used to fund people, ensure that people are given the support back into work. So it's important that the right incentives are in place and the right encouragement is put in place to ensure that those people who are fit and able enough to get into work are encouraged to do so.
Now, the party this week is already showing some divisions when it comes to tax. Do you support the former Prime Minister Liz Truss's call to axe the tax?
The Chancellor will make announcements about tax.
Do you support
in the autumn
it,
statement.
do you support her call? Do you think tax should be reduced?
In the budget next year. I'm a Conservative. I believe in lower taxation when it's responsible to do so.
Before the election,
I'm sure
then?
the Chancellor will be doing everything he can to ensure that where there is the opportunity to provide tax cuts, he is able to do so.
Your party is clearly at odds with itself on this issue though. I mean, Liz Truss's speech this afternoon had people queuing out the door at that Fringe event. She's clearly got a lot of support still on this issue.
Well, I don't accept that analysis.
You don't accept the party is divided on this?
We are supporting the Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak is doing an incredible job dealing with our country's economy, ensuring that our country's finances are on a stable footing moving forward. And over the last 12 months, he has demonstrated that he is an excellent Prime Minister, and I absolutely support him.
Are those members wrong then to support Liz Truss's call to axe the tax?
As I said, the Conservative Party is instinctively a party of lower taxation when it is responsible to do so. And I'm sure that the Chancellor, at the appropriate moment, whether it's in the autumn statement or in the budget, will be setting out his plans for the country's economy and taxation at those moments.
This is Rishi Sunak's first UK conference as Prime Minister. Could it be his last, or do you seriously believe that your party can win the next election?
Well, I speak to hundreds, thousands of voters in my constituency each month. I'm very reassured that people have confidence in our Prime Minister and the job that he is doing. They're very frustrated that the SNP, the Scottish Government, continue to talk about referendums and breaking up the United Kingdom. They want the Scottish Government, the SNP, to be focused on the NHS, the schools and all the public services that they are responsible for, are not fretting about another independence.
You believe you can win
referendum.
next year though?
I believe we can win
Seriously?
next election. Yes.
You've seen the opinion polls, you believe you can turn that round?
Well, I've got the
in time for
benefit of
next year?
actually speaking to voters in my constituency. I don't comment on opinion polls. They go up and they go down. The only poll that matters is the poll on general election day. And I'm confident that people see the great strength of our Prime Minister, and they also see that the SNP government are not focused on the priorities of the people of Scotland.
OK, John Lamont, thank you very much indeed for joining us in Scotland tonight.